Good morning, everyone. I hope you are well and doing great. I hope you're ready for another day. The markets are ever evolving, and right now things are changing. We're going to get a hold of the whole situation in just a moment. Want to give everyone a few moments to arrive into the group. Hey, if you're just joining us now for the live stream, great, great, great. If you're here for the replay, glad you're with us. I feel like you're a strong part of the community as well. I'm going to give everyone just a couple of minutes to get in here before we begin. Alberto, Dominic, everyone, great to see you. All right, so I'm going to get going right now. I'm going to begin. I don't feel like too many people are in here right now. Let me turn off that so we don't get a loop. And let me just go ahead and send to the Telegram group. Gabe, Heath, what's going on, everyone? All right, this is going to be actually a shorter session, about 1 hour. I do have an appointment earlier this morning, so we're going to be just take a good look at everything. Before we begin, before we get into it, we had this morning here the Philly Fed with a huge beat, huge beat, and it looks like, in my opinion, that's being used as an opportunity to take some profits here on the dollar. All right, it's not abnormal after a move like this, and then you get a good print to see a little bit of profit taking. And more importantly, just everyone, I want everyone. Tomorrow is data dump Friday. It's the biggest day of the week. It's enormous. The EU this morning, they released their monetary policy minutes. They made comments that they were looking for more data before they have some optimism. Tomorrow they're going to get a bunch of data. They're going to get a ton of data tomorrow. We're getting data out of the UK, and then we're getting manufacturing data out of the US, and retail sales out of Canada. It's just an enormous day. So to see some profit taking going into that event, absolutely normal. So it's more of a bounce that we're going to be seeing this morning or in this session rather than considering a trend change. A lot of people, for example, are calling for a dead cat bounce in the euro US dollar. So, right, they're saying, hey, look, the euro's come so far so soon. It's just normal that it bounces. Now, the way that I view it and the way that many of you view it also is, look, well, we came down into the support, and that's where she's holding, right? Either which way. Wow, Maria, Blair, earn money, easy tricks. Ooh, okie okie. What's going on, everyone? 97 short, US dollar, Japanese yen. The breakout. I wanted that breakout so bad, and I didn't get that breakout, and I wish I did. I took profits on my gold. I'm not so sure I wanted to do that, but I did it. Um, what I so before I want to get into the analysis again, just to recap, I have this is going to be a short session. It's going to be about 1 hour, but it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a really good session. I have an appointment this morning, so we're going to be outside of our normal trading session. Now, again, it looks to me like this is going to be a sell the news type of event, and that's just normal going into tomorrow. No big deal. Don't read much into it. But let's take a look around. Oh, what I wanted to say about the MyFX book, definitely once we see the retail traders get over, I would say somewhere around 93%, give or take a couple of percentage points. That's when you see some sharp moves and a lot of them get stopped out. But what I also noticed, if you pull up the MyFX book, it shows how far the people who are for example short the US dollar Japanese yen right now, how many pips against them it is, and is those in profit. It shows how many pips they're into profit, and it's usually a small amount of pips, whether it's 100 or so. These guys don't hold on to trades, winning trades too long, and just be aware of that. Either way, let's really get into the charts, and we're going to start with the DXY. And obviously, what do we hit? 99.9 this morning. This is a tweet this morning from Raoul Pal. If you're not following him, he's the founder of Real Vision. And he's talking about the global wrecking ball, the US dollar, right? So let's just look at these couple of charts really quick. He's showing first the dollar trading at 99.90. And he's saying that this type of dollar is really going to hurt global growth, right? So he's taking a look here at, this is a basket of Asian currencies, and you can see the dollar has broken down against them. With the coronavirus all over the Asian region, that makes complete sense. Here we're looking at this is a bigger version of the Asian basket, and you could see this looks like, if it breaks down over here, that could be a disaster. That could be a yuan devaluation right there. Here you're looking at emergency market currencies, a basket, and it looks like the dollar has broken out against them as well. Now we're looking at the Aussie. Last night, the Aussie broke that support. You could see that happening over here. Here's the yen. He's saying that it looks like it's probably broken out. It looks like it broke out to me. Here we're looking at the RMB, getting close, about to break out the dollar. And then the Korean won looks like it's also broken out. He's talking about the euro is at this enormous, probably the biggest level of its life. And then we're seeing, looks like the Brazilian real has also broken out. The dollar's broken out against it. Now, this is the important part of the thread. I honestly don't think anything can stop this. Even the central banks around the world have been flagging this issue with the dollar based on technical and fundamentals. The Fed will have to first cut rates as a first step, but that won't be enough, right? So the Fed will come in, they'll cut interest. You often hear traders say when a central bank cuts rates, the currency is going to depreciate. Not always. Going back to 2003 in the United States, they were cutting rates and the dollar kept appreciating. Same thing is going to happen here. The Fed will come in, they'll come in with a rate cut, a small cut, right? It's going to do nothing. They're going to have to come in with another cut. And then they're going to have to come in and come big. It's going to take a lot more. It's going to take a regime shift to change this structure and dangerous dynamic. The dollar is going to reflexive loop where the new higher, lower global growth makes the US more attractive, and lower growth leads to the need for more dollars, uglies, buy bonds, dollars, gold, and Bitcoin. Now, this move today is don't even read into it, right? And we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow is a data day, right? So we could get either a continuation of today's move down, or obviously this could just continue sending the dollar off. But what's going on here is bigger than what's going on here is big. It's structural, right? So let's take a look at the charts. Oh, gee, Alberto, that's terrible. It's tough. You can see the breakout though. I feel just as bad not being in the trade. I wish I was in the trade, but it's big. All right, let's get into it. We'll start off with gold. We'll work our way down. Actually, we'll start off with oil over here. Oil coming up as expected, is coming into the resistance that we're first interested in seeing, 54.74. I expect it's going to be rejected over up in this resistance, but you all know how we play, moves into support and resistance. And if it breaks through, then we're going to be looking at up here. And that's, as you get into this area over here, 57, 56, there's an area that I would strongly be looking to lean into. Either way you look at it, the global economy is slowing, and that's only going to continue. Obviously, this is a bigger picture situation. As China's trying to get people back to work, you might have this initial hopes that things are going to be working out for the better. Gold, the breakout continues. I saw something seasonally starting next week. It's not the best time for gold. You know, those things work until they don't work. I think there's a lot more in play than seasonalities right now when it comes to the markets. DXY, we're all very, very familiar with it. And you could see, I think Blair noted this morning in the Telegram that we're going to see 100 today, and it's almost just luck we didn't. This good print, this really strong print out of the this morning here on the Philly Fed, I think caused some profit taking. US dollar, Japanese yen, not much to say about it. It's the breakout we were watching, and so this is a good idea from learning from your mistakes. And let me talk about my mistake over here. I was watching price. I talked about it, I believe, with you all in the weekly Forex forecast, between this trend line resistance and the support, and price wasn't doing anything. We all know that when price is consolidating and doing nothing, look at this, that it's leading up to a big move. Here was the big move. I sincerely wish I participated in that. You guys all know that from over here. I was watching and waiting for it. The euro seems to be back. Listen, just keep in mind, tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow is when we're going to see some big moves. Volatility's up in the markets ever since the new year. This is a trend that is going to continue for the foreseeable future. What I mean by foreseeable future, I mean in the year and more perhaps to come, because we're at record low in low volatility, and contraction leads to expansion. You have to ATR, average true range, is a great indicator. It really helps you know when the ranges are expanding and when they're contracting, and you could set and change your take profits and stop losses accordingly when the ranges are growing. And right now ranges are growing. Let's take a look at everything across the board just to get a good feel. Good morning, everyone. Riyadh, glad you're jumping in here, joining us. We have the pound New Zealand dollar. Okay, so right now what we're doing was trying to get almost like we're doing the weekend, taking a step back and getting an overview of what's going on. We got a huge wild card tomorrow with volatility. Nevertheless, the charts are always pricing everything in, and all we need to do is rely on them. I am seeing over here, looking at this, obviously bullish above the support over here at the whole number of 2. But this is going to be reliant tomorrow on whatever happens out of the UK. There's no trade over here. Price is just consolidating above here. Looks bullish, but you got to wait to see what happens tomorrow with the pound. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, these two continue to battle it out. Again, very big consolidation over here. I'm looking for a long-term bottom. In order for that to happen, price has to take out this resistance. We're close to it over here. It's at 1.04732. I continue to watch that. A break above there, I want to get long here, and I'm going to look for this being a long-term bottom being put into place. The euro finally bouncing today. Expect that to continue through the session, I do believe. And here you can see it attacking the Canadian dollar, engulfing over here. So obviously what we're waiting for is a pullback into this resistance. Now, listen, probably what's happening on the euro is legitimately a dead cat bounce, right? Any moves into any strong resistance, this is strong resistance, is an opportunity to look for sells. If we get some good data out tomorrow out of the EU, you could expect these moves to continue and maybe get up into these resistance over here. If we get bad data tomorrow out of the EU, this move could just really be sold, and we can take another leg down. That's why tomorrow's data is so important. Swiss franc, strongest currency out of today going into the session, and you can see this is coming down to dangerous levels. This was the strong resistance. I was looking for a breakout above, coming out of this inverted head and shoulders over here. You could see that the head and shoulders, the neckline break. I was looking for this to hold, but look, I had my resistance in there. I should have been smarter about that. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar is crushing the New Zealand dollar. I believe New Zealand dollar is the strongest. I mean, the weakest currency going into the session. Um, and it doesn't look pretty, although it's coming down definitely into some support. I would draw it in right over here, just so I have it as a marker, because sure enough, next time I come back to the chart, good chance that has held. If you're, all right. By the way, indices look like they're opening down this morning. Euro, Swiss franc. Swiss franc's the strongest currency this morning, and look, still can't make a new low versus the euro. Again, this is a telltale sign. There's a possibility on a pop over here that we could rise above this area we're looking at, down over at, I guess I have it around 0.1063, call it. If we get about back above and are able to take out this resistance, again, dead cow pounce on the euro. I would love to be able to sell into this resistance over here. And I'm just going to mark it in case we get up there so that I remember. And I really want to look at that, because long term, obviously we see the picture that's being painted. I don't see it any type of turnaround. US dollar, Swiss franc, into this strong resistance over here. So far today, the Swiss franc is being rejected by it. Again, Swiss franc is the strongest currency. That dollar, I think right now, I'm looking to buy off of supports. Looking to buy the US dollar against the Swiss franc off of supports. Here's a support down here. All right, euro making some sweet gains against the Australian dollar today. Australian dollar just really took out its support. It's in dire situation. And this looks like a bad draw over here. This looks like the support we want to focus on going forward. Again, breaking out over here. It looks like the euro is going to continue to put pressure. Euro looks like it's gaining a little bit of strength this session. And again, it's been waiting to bounce. Either the DXY is going to continue doing its thing, which is every morning we see it come off, it's bought up, or we're finally going to get a little bit of a retrace, selling that great print this morning out of the US. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, pushing the high over here. I know Maria was in this trade, and a fantastic one at that, and she was holding into last night. This continues to look fantastic, and not much else to say about that. I think the yen move is going to continue. I'm looking for, perhaps if we get some good data out of the UK tonight, for the pound Japanese yen really to break out to the upside and join the Canadian dollar. New Zealand dollar breaking down out of this support. Forgot who was in the room yesterday, really all over the weakness here and looking to play that. I hope they're still involved in it. I could see the support down. It has support. I don't think the Australian dollar does. Let's look at it. Again, I don't know everyone else's thoughts. I seem to really buy into what Jeff Snyder has been sharing about the euro dollar, what Raoul Pal was enforcing, and I believe that even if they go ahead and try to do something about the dollar, that we're going to continue to see a stronger dollar for a while. So sell any bounces. Pound Japanese yen looks like if it could break above this level, I think it's going to need some good data tomorrow out of the UK to do it. But if it does, with what's going on in the yen, I think we could have a pretty substantial move to the upside if it's able to break out here, right? I think that's pretty clear. The resistance is pretty clear over here, strong. And if we do break up out of it, I think there's a good chance we come in and possibly even test the 148 area up here at the peak. So I have my eye on that. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, still with the really weak Australian dollar. The Australian dollar, Japanese yen is kind of hanging in there, doing all right. It looks like it's trying also to take out this strong resistance. It seems like the yen move again is going to be prolonged, and it doesn't look like it's one that's going to be faded anytime soon. Euro bouncing hard against the Australian dollar, hard against the New Zealand dollar, and there's not much else to say except that this looks pretty solid here. There's a lot of momentum in this session. I think that's where any day traders want to be, focused in on Euro pairs this session. Oof, this is ugly. This is a daily chart. Wow. Wow, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. What's going to stop it? Canada's right next to the US. Oil's bid right now, but regionally, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Asia's getting hit right now. Wow, Maria, I'm so glad you're still holding that one. I'm so glad. We're going to get right down to the US dollar, Canadian dollar in just a moment. It's one pair below. Broke down versus this important support level overnight. Yeah, they had a mildly bad print. I'm looking at a monthly chart here now. This was the lows during the crisis, right? Australian dollar traded down to 0.625. There's not much in between over here, so there's not much to say. If what the only hope the Australian dollar has right now is if it's able to regain this support over here. So watch today, watch tomorrow. If by tomorrow, after the data is out of the way, it hasn't regained this level, then I think you have to look continually to sell any bounces. The breakout obviously is real, and you can't get caught going back to the US dollar, Japanese yen. You can't get holding against these breakouts when they're happening right now because volatility is increasing. You have to change your mind of what it's been like the last few years with these narrow ranges, because we're entering a period of expansion right now. US dollar, Canadian dollar. Listen, I think Canadian dollar is holding up strong versus the other commodity currencies. That's clear as day. Dollar's still the dollar, and look at oil. I just need to look at oil for a second as we're talking here about the Canadian dollar, and the reason being is because oil is right now bid coming into this resistance, right? If oil's rejected over here, and if the Canadian dollar then loses its bid, the dollar is going to break out versus the Canadian dollar also. It already has. Here's the trend line. As long as you're holding this trend line to the upside, right? The dollar is broken out versus it. If we come over here and make new highs, if we make new highs over here, then it's off to the races. But you have tomorrow retail sales. This is a big print. Core retail sales is a big print for the for Canada. Central banks really focused in on the consumer. We've been looking forward to this for 3 weeks, ever since they met last, to this print. So that's going to be the deciding factor tomorrow. Whatever, if this is a good print, okay, then you can lean into the Canadian dollar a little bit. And if it's a poor print, look to sell it. against the dollar. Mexican peso has been super strong. Again, what's really weird about this trade here is that when there's dollar weakness, the dollar gains versus the Mexican peso. And when there's dollar strength, the Mexican peso is gaining. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if it has. I don't know what it has to do with. I've been told that it has to do with the carry trade. Mexico pays 7%, and I don't know if it has more to do with the whole dynamics of Latin America and the peso as a funding currency. I don't know. But what that does mean is that when the dollar does find another base, maybe it's time to lean short into the peso, right? So we got some resistance up and draw another one up here. I think that whole number is the line in the sand. You get above there, and I think that then we have a trend change. Let's see if we get actually a trend line in here as well. Let's see. Let's take a look. We'll keep that in for future reference. Now, let's finish with New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Again, you could see how weak the yen is, that even with the New Zealand dollar just getting obliterated today, we could see that we're trading near this top of this resistance, and it really looks like even these weak currencies want to break out against the yen. The euro must be really, look at this. The euro is really taking back some of those gains versus the yen. The yen is just weak, right? The yen is just weak. That's even with everyone aware of the potential slowdown in the global economy. It's not playing out like a safe haven currency. The most important thing that I've seen about the yen was the fact that it looks like the yen had been pegged to gold. Let's look at XAU, JPY. And then it looks like for whatever reason, they've removed that peg. Sorry about that. I don't know. Doesn't look like I could pull up. There we go. This is gold in the yen, and you can see over here. Look at this. I don't know how long this is. 8-hour chart. Let me pull up a daily chart. This is, you could see the breakout. Enormous. And that's probably a good trade to lean into, to be honest, going forward. But there it is. And so I don't think that, not that I think this is going to keep going straight up as it is. And I have no idea what's going to happen with gold next. But longer term play here, by longer term, I mean over the course of the next year, right? I think this is obviously going to continue. Taking someone else, the euro, Japanese yen, we're coming into this resistance over here. Look, it looks like we're going to break through that resistance. You know, the yen has a bit of a bounce in it today. I don't think that's going to be sold off like every other bounce we've seen. I think that this one may actually, you know, go at least through London tomorrow, and then we'll have to see what these prints. These are big prints, right? If we get some positive prints, you know, and usually, you know, this was the most important one, the first one, and even though it's services, you know, this is the most important print for the lead on what the rest are going to be, or the market reacts pretty heavily to the first one at least. And you know, tomorrow, if you get some positive numbers, you might see a big bounce in the euro. However, you get some poor numbers and forget it. So it's hard to say with those big data numbers coming up. but it looks like that we're going to take out this resistance here on the euro as well. Definitely looks like it. Pound, Canadian dollar is having its way right now, coming back down into some support area over here. I don't know. I mean, again, this is all tomorrow. Both of these have some big prints. Can't trade this at all. I have no idea. It's pretty clear the trend in the market is that weak yen. The strong dollar is coming off. Today, momentum traders want to stick with the euro, I believe. Pound Australian dollar. Looks like it's getting ready to break out to new highs over here. Again, as long as we're above these two supports, it's extremely bullish. Australian dollar looks like it's going to have continued problems. And then here we go. This is pretty interesting over here, as the pound is getting wrecked here by the dollar. So I don't know what's going to happen here long term. If we lose the support over here, then we have a breakdown versus the pound as well. All right, keep that in mind. Watch this support level over here. Euro finally taking back some gains versus the pound. We have a heavy resistance over here, too heavy resistance to look at, to lean into going forward. Let me put just a little bit of a marker, because just like on the euro Swiss franc, this is one that I might be interested in leaning into going forward. Swiss franc, strongest currency this morning coming into the session. Just like on the pound, US dollar, I think long term, right over here, this support level over here, if that's taken out to the downside, then we have a breakdown. New Zealand dollar must be getting smacked here versus the pound. It looks like we're going to be challenging these lows eventually. This is clear downtrend. Look to buy into any, and this was the it's not easy. You have a bounce into resistance, and you think maybe you're getting like a trend change, right? It looked to me that we were getting a trend change, but then the New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar fell off the cliff of the earth. So that's a look across the board. Again, this is going to be a quick session, but if anyone has any questions now, we could take a look at them happily. Amir, the next move on the euro US dollar, I mean, right now, we're looking at a bounce, and it's dependent on what happens tomorrow, right? Overnight, you have French flash services PMI, followed by German flash manufacturing and services PMI. You also get manufacturing and services out of the EU in general. So the next move on the euro is going to be data driven. Right now, it looks like it's bouncing. Looks like the dollar, you're seeing some profit taking on the dollar ahead of the news. So how far this bounce goes is dependent on the data. Was it Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar? I'm looking here and waiting for a breakout. I'm going to draw a blue box in just to give you an idea of exactly what I'm looking at. This is the consolidation I'm looking at. The longer the consolidation, the bigger the move. It's pretty clear. To me, it looks like a bottom's being put in, a long-term bottom. And if we break above this resistance over here, I'm interested in taking a position here, Australian dollar versus New Zealand dollar. Now, on the flip side over here, you do have long consolidation, right? And if we break down over here, if we lose the support down at 0.103956, right? Then you have to be short the New Zealand dollar here, short the Australian dollar versus the New Zealand dollar. But right now, you're in the consolidation range and there's no edge. We've been in it for quite a while, but expect a big move is coming. I think it's going to be to the upside. I'll take it either way. Absolutely, Blair. Very important session today. Very important session going into the to tomorrow's data point. again, the focus of this session is you're seeing that strength in the euro for the day traders. Um, I don't think the dollar move is anything more than just a little bit of profit taking. If we get some favorable data one way or another, that move could be extended for a little while. But overall, I think we know it's clear. I think the dollar strength will continue long term. And I think that this Japanese move is just the beginning. I think it's just the beginning. That's not to say we're going straight up at all, right? And you all know we've all now have seen so many times the breakouts, the pullbacks. Look at the DXY. How much of you wish that you really took advantage of this big breakout? Look at that pullback, and then boom. So in an ideal world, we get something similar like this happen to the Japanese yen, where we get that pullback. And Alberto, I hope that guy, he's smart enough, if you get it in type of pullback, to be able to get out of that. Listen, I hope those that are participating, and not that today is the day where we're going to see a lot of setups. You have that euro momentum to follow, but you guys, if anyone is watching anything in the Telegram chat, post a chart of it. Just take a screenshot. It would be really helpful. Just take a screenshot for everyone. Just hit the camera button. It's that easy. Copy the link, and then share the image with us, and that way we get a clear view at what it is you're looking at. And for everyone in general, the more you do that, the more you share the chart of what you're looking at, the more it's going to improve your trading. So I invite you to do that. Billy Boy, send me an email with your screen name. You could be input the subject, Billy Boy, and I'll send you the link. All right, everyone. I'm gonna jump off. I'm gonna definitely, tomorrow's gonna be a super exciting day. We're gonna have a lot to process, and that's even the prints this morning, 8:30 a.m. out of Canada, and then 9:45 manufacturing. That could reverse this, whatever move we get out of here. This alone could reverse it, or it could just push it through further. It's going to be a big day. Everyone trade safe, trade smart, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.